Hey everyone! Welcome back to Learning English Practical, the podcast that helps you not only learn English, but also grow in everyday life. I'm Mia, and as always, I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Jake. How's it going, Jake?
I'm doing great, Mia. I've had my morning coffee, my brain's awake, and I'm ready to dive into today's topic. How about you?
I'm doing well too. Yesterday I had one of those moments where I just stopped and thought, why is it that some people completely change their lives while others seem to stay stuck?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. You see people go from struggling to thriving, and it makes you wonder, what's their secret? Are they just lucky, or is there something they're doing differently?
Exactly. And that question got me thinking about how we learn English. The ups and downs, the struggles, the breakthroughs. Maybe the secret to life change isn't magic at all. Maybe it's something we can all learn.
You know, Mia, that actually reminds me of when I first started learning English. It felt impossible at first. There were too many words, too many rules, and my pronunciation was a mess.
Oh, I totally get that. I used to think, if I just memorize more vocabulary, I'll finally be fluent. But guess what? It didn't work that way.
Exactly. It wasn't just about learning new words. It was about building small habits, like listening to something in English every day, writing short notes, or even talking to myself in English while cooking.
Yes, I remember when everything finally started clicking. I realized progress didn't come from studying harder for 1 week. It came from staying consistent, one small step at a time.
That's so true. And it's funny how life works the same way. Big changes don't happen because of one dramatic decision. They happen because of the tiny choices we make every single day.
Absolutely. Whether you're learning English or trying to improve your life, the formula is the same. Small steps, done consistently, lead to transformation.
And that's exactly what today's episode is about: how to create real, lasting change.
Oh, and before we get deeper into it, we've got something special for you. A free guide full of practical exercises to help you take real action starting today.
That's right. We wanted to make this episode more than just a conversation, so we created a free downloadable PDF that goes along with today's topic.
Yup. Inside, you'll find 3 really useful sections. First, there's a summary of all the key points we'll talk about today, so even if you miss something, you can review it later.
Then, we've included comprehension questions to help you check your understanding and practice your English skills in a fun way.
And finally, some grammar and vocabulary exercises to help you use what you learn in real life. Because remember, learning English isn't about memorizing rules, it's about using them every day.
Exactly. And speaking of vocabulary, we've got a special segment coming up later in the episode.
Oh yes, Charlotte will join us to break down some intermediate level words and expressions we use in this episode. She'll explain their meanings, give you examples, and show how to use them naturally in conversation.
So stay with us. By the end of this episode, you'll not only know how to make real changes in your life, but also learn new English words to describe your progress confidently.
Perfect combo, right? English learning and life growth. That's what Learning English Practical is all about. So Jake, we've been talking about growth and change, but let's be honest. If change were easy, everyone would do it. Why do you think so many people stay stuck?
That's a great question. I think the first reason is fear of failure. People often ask, what if I try and fail? But the real question should be, what if I never try? Every successful person has failed many times. They just kept moving forward.
Yes, I used to think failure meant I wasn't good enough, but now I see it as feedback, a signal that I'm learning.
Exactly. The second reason people stay stuck is lack of direction. They want a better life, but they don't know where to start, so they end up doing nothing.
And then there's negative self-talk. You know, those little voices that say, I can't do this, or I'll never be fluent. When you repeat that long enough, you start believing it.
Oh, and let's not forget the classic one, waiting for motivation. People keep saying, I'll start when I feel ready. But guess what? Motivation doesn't come first. Action does.
So true. Taking that first small step actually creates momentum. Waiting never will.
Exactly. And that's where change truly begins, not in thinking, but in doing.
Mia, realizing what's holding you back is already half the battle. But the next question is, how do we actually start changing?
I'd say it's all about small daily improvements. You don't need to change everything at once. Just focus on getting a little better every day.
Exactly. Have you heard of the 1% rule? It says that if you improve by just 1% every day, by the end of a year, you'll be 37 times better than when you started.
That's wild, right? But it makes sense because small actions add up, like compound interest in a bank account.
Totally. And that's why habits matter so much. There's this book I love, Atomic Habits by James Clear, that explains how small, consistent habits can completely reshape your identity over time.
Yes, it's not about doing something huge once in a while. It's about what you do regularly. Reading 10 minutes a day, practicing English for 5 minutes, or even saying one positive thing to yourself each morning.
Exactly. Tiny steps may not look impressive today, but over time, they redefine who you are.
And that's the beauty of it. Real change doesn't happen overnight. It's built quietly, day by day.
So if you're listening to this, don't wait for a big breakthrough. Just start with one small habit today.
You know, Jake, while small habits are powerful, there's something even more important, the mindset behind them. Because the way we think determines how far we go.
Absolutely. I've been reading about the idea of growth mindset versus fixed mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are limited, like I'm just not good at languages. But with a growth mindset, you think, I can get better if I keep practicing.
Exactly. It's not about being naturally talented. It's about believing that effort leads to progress. And when you believe that, you start acting differently.
There's also something fascinating called the reticular activating system, or RAS. It's the part of your brain that filters what you notice. For example, when you learn a new word, suddenly you hear it everywhere.
Yes, it's like your brain highlights whatever you focus on. So if you constantly tell yourself, I can't do this, your brain looks for proof. But if you say, I'm improving every day, your brain finds evidence of progress instead.
That's why reprogramming your thoughts is so powerful. It's not magic, it's neuroscience.
I love that. The more we train our brain to look for growth, the more growth we'll actually see.
Exactly. Your mindset isn't just how you think, it's how you shape your reality.
We talked about how mindset shapes our reality. But how can people actually train it? It's easy to say, think positive, but hard to live it.
You're right. One way is through affirmations. They're short, powerful sentences you repeat to yourself, like, I'm confident when I speak English, or every day I'm improving. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about reminding your brain what to focus on.
That's true. The brain loves repetition. When you keep saying something, it starts to believe it. It's like teaching your inner voice a new language, the language of growth.
Another method I love is visualization. Imagine yourself having a fluent conversation or giving a presentation in English. When you picture it clearly, your brain begins to prepare your body and emotions for that reality.
It's powerful, right? Athletes do it all the time. They mentally rehearse success before the game even starts.
And don't forget gratitude. Writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day literally rewires your brain to see positivity.
So mindset isn't just philosophy, it's practical neuroscience.
Exactly. Affirm, visualize, and be grateful. These are the small rituals that build a stronger, happier mind.
And a confident English learner, too. A lot of learners tell me they understand these ideas, but when they make mistakes, they still feel embarrassed or even want to give up.
That's completely normal. Making mistakes means your brain is learning. It's like lifting weights. The struggle is what builds the muscle.
I love that comparison. Every mistake is a mental workout. Instead of thinking, I failed, we can say, I discovered something new.
Exactly. I remember when I was learning Spanish. I once said a sentence that meant something totally different, and everyone laughed. But that moment actually helped me remember the correct phrase forever.
That's a perfect example. When you laugh, you learn better. Emotion makes memories stick.
That's why I tell students to practice speaking out loud every day, even alone. Talk to yourself, describe what you're doing, or repeat phrases from podcasts. The goal isn't perfection, it's consistency.
Right. Confidence comes from repetition, not magic. If you speak English for 5 minutes every day, you'll sound different in 1 month.
And remember, fluency is not a destination, it's a journey. Each word, each mistake, each smile, they all count.
Beautifully said. Learning English is really learning how to trust your own voice. So, Jake, once learners start speaking more confidently, the next big challenge is thinking directly in English, right?
Yes, that's the real breakthrough. Most learners translate in their heads from their native language to English, and that slows everything down.
I used to do that too. But when I stopped translating, my English became more natural. It felt like switching my brain's language mode.
That's a good way to put it. One simple trick is to connect English words with images, not translations. For example, when you hear apple, imagine the fruit, not the word in your native language.
I love that. It makes English feel alive, not like a math problem. Another great method is to narrate your day in English. For instance, when you wake up, say, "I'm brushing my teeth," or "I'm making coffee."
Yes, that builds direct connections between thoughts and English words. Over time, your brain stops needing a middle language.
And the best part? You start to feel the language. You think faster, react naturally, and conversations flow more easily.
Exactly. Thinking in English is like rewiring your brain. It takes patience, but once it clicks, everything changes.
Totally. It's not just learning English, it's living it.
So Mia, once people start thinking in English, how can they keep that momentum going? Because it's easy to lose it when life gets busy.
That's true. The secret is consistency, not intensity. You don't need to study for hours. Just make English part of your daily life. For example, journaling is amazing. Write a few lines every night about your day, your goals, or even your feelings, all in English.
I love that. It turns English into a mirror of your thoughts. And there's also shadowing, listening to native speakers and repeating after them in real time. It improves pronunciation, rhythm, and confidence.
Yes, it's like singing along with your favorite language. And don't forget immersion. Change your phone language, watch movies with English subtitles, or join online English communities. Surround yourself with it.
The key is to make English your default setting. The more your brain sees and hears it, the more natural it becomes.
Exactly. You stop learning English and start living in English. That's the mindset we want our listeners to build.
Well said, Mia. Small habits, big changes.
Before we finish today's episode, let's take a quick look at some of the powerful words we used. These aren't just English words, they're tools for changing your life. The first one is transformation, a big positive change. Remember when I said real transformation doesn't happen overnight? It's all about small steps every day.
Next is mindset, your way of thinking. If your mindset says, "I can improve," you already have the advantage.
Then we have affirmation, short positive sentences you tell yourself, like, "I'm getting better every day."
And visualization, when you imagine yourself succeeding before it happens.
Right, and consistency is what keeps everything working. You don't need to study for hours. 5 minutes every day builds amazing results.
Exactly. That's how we create strong habits. Reading a page, practicing English daily, or thinking positively. It all adds up.
And we can't forget motivation. People wait for it, but it actually comes after action. Start first, and motivation will follow.
We also talked about how to overcome challenges, like the fear of speaking English. Once you take the first step, it gets easier.
And your environment matters too. Surround yourself with positive people who push you to grow.
Finally, never underestimate progress. Every word you learn, every small action is progress, and that's what real change looks like.
Exactly. Keep these 10 words close. Use them in your conversations, and they'll not only improve your English, they'll shape your life. Before we say goodbye, we just want to thank you, our amazing listeners, for being here today. Every time you press play, you're not just listening, you're investing in your growth.
Yes, and remember, progress doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. One word, one thought, one brave moment at a time.
If today's episode helped you think a little differently or gave you motivation to practice English again, please share it with a friend who might need it too.
And don't forget to follow Learning English Practical on your favorite podcast platform. Leave a comment or message. We love hearing your stories.
Keep practicing, stay curious, and remember, your voice in English is already strong. It just needs to be heard.
Until next time, keep learning, keep shining, and keep thinking in English.